If you look back at the TOCA series on the original PlayStation, you can see what Codemasters were going for and how they improved each game. The first game was all about the 1997 BTCC season, and they added more and more motorsports in each game, such as Formula Ford and the Fiesta Championship. Codemasters improved the handling model in each game as well. Now I say improved in each game, but I found the handling model in the third game so bad that I refused to review it and have no plans to do so at any point in the future. All three games were rated highly by critics, but Codemasters couldn't keep up with the times as a new console generation was just around the corner. Codemasters took a 2-year break from the series to develop games for the 6th generation, and in 2002 they released TOCA Race Driver on the PlayStation 2 and in 2003 on Xbox and Windows. The game was also released as DTM Race Driver in Germany, Pro Race Driver in North America and V8 Supercars Race Driver in Australia to make the game more relatable to different regions. For some reason, the developers thought that it would be a good idea to add some kind of story. I would say spoilers, but I don't think anybody is going to play this game for the story. The game starts with a crash where the driver dies. The driver's sons are in the audience and essentially witness their father burning alive. You play as the youngest son, whose name is Ryan McCain, who has just started a racing career, and you basically have to make your way to the top of the racing leaderboards. That is all that I'm going to say about the story because it is incredibly stupid. Racing games, and especially racing games like this, don't need a storyline of any kind. Usually when a racing game that isn't Need for Speed has a story, then that is a bad sign, and this game is no exception. There are a lot of different championships in this game, and it will take you a while to get through them all. You start off with the Lexus Is-200, which is basically your tutorial, and as you go through the game, you get to drive faster cars such as the DTM and V8 Supercars. I like how you get into championships. You get emails from people offering you a contract. What I don't like about that is that you have very few options when it comes to who to race for. Like, I don't want to drive a Vauxhall Astra, but the game forced me to, as it was very early on into the game. I get that you're not that experienced as a driver and you're just starting out, but a Vauxhall? That's just insulting. I really don't like the physics. The game has the same issue that Colin McRae Rally 2.0 and 3 had, where the cars kind of pivot round corners instead of following the front wheels. It makes sense that something like that would happen as both games were developed by Codemasters in the early 2000s, but it shouldn't have been a thing at all. In Colin McRae Rally 3, the whole pivoting round corners thing was annoying, but I just forgot about it after a while. I never got used to it in TOCA Race Driver, and it ruins what would otherwise be a good game. Another thing that I don't like about the physics is the lack of ABS, even though I think that's more of a gameplay thing. I know that race cars don't have ABS, but no matter what I did, I still ended up locking up the front wheels. The same thing happens with road cars as well, so I really don't understand what the developers were thinking when they coded the physics. Yet another thing that I don't like about the physics is the wheel spin, or whatever it is that slows you down at the beginning of a race. In real life, you can't just set off with 100% acceleration and not expect wheel spin, and I don't have an issue with that. What I do have an issue with is that it happens no matter how much power I send to the wheels. The physics are so weird that I don't think anybody actually knows what type of racing game TOCA Race Driver is. The physics might be questionable, but what isn't questionable is the track list. The game has a good selection of tracks. You have 38 tracks from all over the world, including ones that you still don't see in video games today, such as Alton Park in the UK and TI Circuit AIDA in Japan. The tracks are really well made, but it is hard to take in the sight when you're concentrating so much because of the stupid physics. The game is missing a lot of tracks that would have been nice to see, such as Laguna Seca and Circuit de la Sarthe. There are only 42 cars, which isn't a lot. but you spend more time with each car and you might not even get to drive some of them because of the way that the career mode is structured. There are a few different types of cars, so you've got some road cars, touring cars, DTM cars and V8 supercars. I have mixed feelings about the car list because I like that there's a lot of cars in each category, but it would have been nice to have more categories in general, like JGTC, NASCAR and the Fiesta Championship. This would mean that there would have been cars like obviously NASCARs and Ford Fiestas, but also the Honda NSX and Toyota Supra JGTC cars. If Codemasters did that, they could have then sold the game in Japan as JGTC Race Driver, and then it would have got good ratings in Japan, which is apparently hard for a non-Japanese racing game to do, especially in the early 2000s, when you also had games like Gran Turismo 3 A-Spec for comparison. Overall, I'm not that impressed by TOCA Race Driver and I'm going to give it a 4 out of 10. It is very hard to think of anything that I actually like about this game, other than the way that the tracks look. I don't like the story, I don't like the fact that there's a story in the first place, the car list is tiny, the AI are incredibly stupid and infuriating at times, and I absolutely hate the physics. Just like with Colin McRae Rally 3, I'm going to recommend playing the sequels and just forgetting about this one. This has been my review of TOCA Race Driver on the original Xbox. If you like this review then please give it a like, if you didn't then give it a dislike, and if you want to see more then please consider subscribing and joining the Discord server linked in the description. Goodbye.